Ladies and gentlemen, mutants and humans, outlaws of all ages, I am Jack Slater, the comic outlaw, and today we're doing What If Wolverine Was Lord of the Vampires? Yes, sir, one of my favorites. And we're just going to jump right into it right now. Yeah. As you tell the Watchers explain the story about a time they fought Dracula, and all hope seemed to be lost as Colossus, Wolverine, and Nightcrawler were taken out, beaten by this Lord of Darkness. But Storm was under his control, and then all of a sudden Storm turned against him with the help of Kitty Pryde, who had won the day and had freed Storm's soul. But what if that didn't happen? What if a different event occurred? And then he bit Wolverine, Colossus, and Nightcrawler. And as Nightcrawler and Colossus rose as slaves obedient to Dracula, one stood out, ready to fight Wolverine. And as Dracula lunged for him, Wolverine turned into a mist and then a wolf, vicious and ever ready for blood. Dracula turned into a bat and tried hurling himself at Wolverine, but Wolverine was ready and ripped out his throat. And as Drac lay there, bleeding, Wolverine slowly retrogrades back. His claws pop out, yet his still half or his wolfish wolf form and cuts his head off. And now Wolverine is the Lord of the Vampires and begins his run, first taking the New Mutants and wiping out the other X-Men, making them undead, and then spreading out to the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants and the Hellfire Club, taking all mutants in and their enemies. And as people start to panic, Jameson and others, as the vampires begin to take humans as well, Lord Wolverine stands, as he's told that there's one man that can stop him, the Sorcerer Supreme, Strange. And as Strange is coming home to his sanctum, he realizes there's a ruby, the Sidorak ruby. Why is it there? And all of a sudden, Juggernaut smashes into his spine, crushing it, destroying Strange, and with one punch he breaks his neck. The sudden attack, Strange wasn't able to defend himself with magic, and then the Juggernaut bites into him. Strange slowly sleeps and drifts into oblivion. He brings his body back to Logan. Logan decides to dispose of it with the crocodiles, the alligators, I guess. And he decides to send out the mutants. They begin to take certain people, they begin to kill certain people. There seems to be no rhyme and reason to who he spares and who he doesn't spare. And as it goes worse and worse, the city begins to be closed off, where even the Avengers cannot get into it, for fear of spreading the plague, the vampire plague, the mutant vampire plague. And as Doctor Strange's spirit drifts into the astral plane, he is stopped by the Ancient One. And the Ancient One tells him that his mission's not done yet. He must stop this. He must put an end to this madness. But there's a book that lies in his sector-sound, and he must find someone to help him. Someone who's still alive, the last man standing, you could say. The Punisher, one of the most efficient killers of all time, and in the face of oblivion is still standing tall. And as he joins, his spirit merges with Castle. The Cape and the Eye of Agamotto appear on Castle, protecting him, giving him strength, and also the wisdom of Strange in his head, guiding him to the book, showing him a way to destroy these vampires for good. And as the human vampires rain down upon him, he fires a barrage of silver bullets. And then it's time for the big leagues. The mutants and their mutant enemies come to fight. Cyclops tries blasting him, as does Storm. Zap, zap. He dodges them both. And as he rains down his special garlic grenade, as well as a barrage of silver bullets. Now you have to understand, and as he takes out Storm, or ripping her wing off, they are mutants. Ooh, he takes out Colossus with holy water, but they have all the weaknesses of vampires. All of them. I want you to keep that in mind as I keep telling this story, as Colossus melts in the holy water. But still, there's a juggernaut, and he grabs Castle and he starts squeezing his hands and squeezing him. But the Eye of Agamotto has other plans, as it lets out a holy blast, pure sunlight that burns Juggernaut to a crisp. As he stands there amongst the bodies of former heroes and villains, and there appears Wolverine, the Lord of the Vampires, ready for a fight, and with a grin on his face. He knows this is for keeps, and he slashes out and he hits the cape, knocking off the Eye of Agamotto. He tries firing some silver bullets, but flashes into a thing of fog. Out of bullets. Man to man. Punisher pulls out a knife that's been blessed by a priest and is made of silver. Wolverine has a healing factor, yes, but he's still a vampire. And as the fight goes on, scrap for scrap, blood for blood, they fight up to Strange's house and in the sanctum, where the fight continues, and Punisher seems to get the upper hand, as they end up transported into the room where the book lies. Each man stabbing, trying to get the upper hand, but it is Punisher in the end who stabs Wolverine in the gut, and Wolverine staggers. Punisher goes in ready for the kill, but Shadowcat appears out of nowhere, and Punisher with no mercy slices her head off. Goes rolling on the floor, and in rage Wolverine slaughters the Punisher, impaling him with his claws. But then, lost in his own darkness and rage, he realized that he lost Kitty, one of the closest women he's ever had to a daughter, and Strange appears to him, appealing to his guilt, the loss of this adopted child of his, someone that he's always loved. It brings back his human side for that moment. He tells him to take a look at all the pain that Dracula's caused and everything else. And Wolverine decides that it must end, and he decides to read from the book. But although his evil is burning him, as he reads the words that are destroying his own people, his own kingdom that he helped create of darkness, slowly starts to turn to ash, as Wolverine does as well. And as all the vampires fade, smolder, turn to ash, and then become dust in the wind, as these pieces of them drift off, and as Strange himself drifts off into the astral plane. And even though there was so much death, yet there's hope. Hope that another day may come and another sunrise. Yes, that was What If Wolverine was Lord of the Vampires. And I, of course, am the comic outlaw, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Yeah.